Councillor Chandler.
We take time to reflect, remember and honour the over 800 miners that lost their lives and those who were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919-1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and future.
Thank you, Councillor Chandler. We move to the public forum session. It is 15 minutes. It will consider submissions from the public. We have one submission, and that's from Miss Gigi Barb. If you'd like to come to the microphone. And speaking on item 1, sorry, before we go to that, you can still stay there. Pecuniary, does anyone have any pecuniary interests that they'd like to declare? Councillor Turley.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 pecuniary interests that I'd like to declare. And I've misplaced my sheet already. They relate to...
Sorry, no, Jay said it's only for the public forum.
For the public forum.
No,
yes,
no,
I have one pecuniary interest that I'd like to declare, and that relates to, now that I know, to the first motion being spoken, as it relates to local government New South Wales, for which I am the state president. I'll step outside. This is.
Do you wish to step outside?
Yes.
No worries. Thank you, Councillor Turley. Thank you, Ms. Barb.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. So I wish to talk about that motion for which notice has been given from Councillor Chandler regarding withdrawing council's membership from the New South Wales Local Government Association. There are several reasons for which this motion should be withdrawn, but for the sake of keeping this down to 2 minutes, I will only mention 2 of them. The first reason is a political one. At the ordinary meeting of February the 8th, this very council rightly pointed out the importance of being at the National Assembly, and I quote, "Attendance at the Assembly is an opportunity for our elected members to meet federal government ministers and shadow ministers to discuss various matters of concern to the city. This face-to-face interaction is invaluable as a follow-up to Council's letters, submissions to ministers regarding current matters of high importance to the city and advocating Council's position on these matters." The second reason for my intervention tonight is that the motion bears wrong calculations. It states that a return airfare to Canberra cost approximately $8,000 and that attendance at one conference can amount to $45,000. Now, according to the financial implications listed in the same February 8th business papers, the total approximate cost of attending the conference, including flights and accommodation, was quoted as $3,169. Now, even with a marginal error of $1,000, that figure doesn't go anywhere near those quoted in the motion. You know, it also mentions saving 10 families from leaving town if we don't attend any more of those assemblies. I can't even fathom how you get that to happen. So I sincerely hope that this motion won't even get a seconder so as to avoid precious meeting time debating it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will. Is there any other people that wish to speak? Just because we have 15, because I'll respond now if there's not too many speakers. I will respond then. The 45,000 that's spoken about in the notice of motion is the membership of the Local Government New South Wales. That's the cost per year. The 8,000 was 2,000 per person, as 3 councillors and the general manager went in the car rather than each taking a flight, which saved the community $8,000, not 8,000 for one flight. The other thing that needs to be acknowledged is that this council has a very good relationship with both Labor and the coalition ministers. And I can assure everyone in the community and everyone watching this stream or at this meeting, we as a council would be welcomed anytime we went to Canberra or anywhere else. We don't have to actually be a member of any association to speak to our elected representatives. Our local members, both state and federal, are quite prepared to make sure we have appointments with any minister we like when we go to Canberra or indeed Sydney at a state level. So thank you for your time. Any other speakers? Yep, Councillor. No, you don't have to. So you're allowed to come down. We've got 15 minutes, so anyone can speak. The only registered speaker was Miss Barb, and that's so.
No worries.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, it's Branko Lekul. Just on that notice of motion, there's no information there on what benefits the Broken Hill City Council gets from being a member of the local government association. I think that information needs to be presented to the councillors so there's a full and informed decision-making process. I think at the very least, it should be, if it gets up, it should be deferred until all the councillors get that full information, and so that the community can find out itself on what benefits and what advantages we have in being a member of the local government association. Thank you.
Thank you. Just before Councillor Turley comes back in, does anyone else want to speak from the gallery, want to speak on that issue? No one? Oh. Yep. On this issue? No, that's fine. You can speak. We'll just get Councillor Turley back in. For the record, Mr. Lee Hermison. Thank you, Lee. Just wait for Councillor Turley to come back in. Okay, thank you.
For the records, I was blown from the underground mine accident. I was at a stroke, so I was incapacitated to sign the letters that allowed my case to go through the court. So I would ask the council to submit a letter to the Scratch Association to use the hall Tuesday and Thursday, and I've got disabled kids to teach there, so it's that important for me. So I'll make it. I've made it meet to you in. I think July. So that's all I wanted to do. Ask the secretary to rewrite a letter on my behalf. And yet you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hermison. For those that might have missed what Mr. Hermison was asking for, he was doing training at the Taekwondo, doing Taekwondo at the Scout Centre. Lee? Yep. And he was just wondering if council could follow up to make sure that it's either there or somewhere else he can do his Taekwondo. Yep. So you're happy to look into that? Okay. The general manager will look into that for you. Any other public speakers? No, declare the public session closed. Minutes for confirmation. Do we have a mover for the minutes for confirmation? Moved Councillor Page, seconded Deputy Mayor Hickey. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Disclosures of interest in the business items. Councillor Turley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My first disclosure of interest is in item. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my computer tonight. It was all blurry. Motion of which notice has been given, number 2/22, And it's a non-pecuniary, but I'll step outside the chamber as I'm president of Local Government New South Wales. And my second item that I have a non-pecuniary interest in is report number 169/122. Again, the reason I'm president of Local Government New South Wales, and I'll leave the chamber.
Thank you, councillor Turley. Councillor Boland, you had a conflict?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Item 14, declare a clune and carry interest, however you pronounce it, my apologies. As I am chair of the Barrier Liquor Accord, and we deal directly with licensing and alcohol
14 or
issues.
13?
13, my
13.
apologies.
Yep, item 13, you have a.
Yes,
Yep, non-pecuniary,
yes,
non-pecuniary,
Yep.
and you choose to.
I will leave the chambers.
Thank you, councillor Boland. Mayoral minute, I have a verbal mayoral minute. I think it's been put up there, has it? Yep, I'll just read it out. I'll just give a bit of background before I read it out. Councillors, the mayor and the general manager, or a council representative, the mayor or councillors, was invited to a Murray-Darling Basin Authority event at Menindee. We didn't get an invitation until late yesterday, and the event was for 7 o'clock that night. So the general manager and the council staff put in an apology. So this is the mayoral minute that Broken Hill City Council sends correspondence to the Murray-Darling Basin Authority explaining our disappointment and displeasure about the very late invitation the same day as the event, to an event held in Menindee yesterday to discuss the basin plan. That it be explained that the Menindee Lake system is an integral part of the fabric of a Broken Hill society. The lakes, when full, have a positive effect on tourism, mental health, the economy, recreation, etc. When empty or mismanaged by water authorities, has an equal negative effect. We ask that in future that the Broken Hill City Council is invited in a timely manner to all events organised by the Murray-Darling Basin Authority that discuss the Darling River or Menindee Lakes. A correspondence highlighting our concerns is also be sent to our local, federal and state members and the local and federal state water members. I have a seconder for that. Councillor Turley. The reason I moved this was our council's always been a council that has, for the 22 or 3 years that I know of, and probably well before that, has been involved in making sure that the Menindee Lakes, Darling River, Anna Branch and our waterways have been protected by both state and federal governments. The Murray-Darling Basin Authority has too often ignored our council. They have often held events in Menindee, Wilcannia, without any consideration to the Broken Hill Council. Even though the Menindee Lakes and the Darling River is not in our local government area, people from both Menindee and Wilcannia use Broken Hill as a regional centre for health, shopping. Our council helps the Central Darling Shire Council. Our community often uses Menindee Lakes. Most of the owners at Sunset Strip, Copey Hollow, etc., are people that live and work in Broken Hill. It is very disappointing that the Murray-Darling Basin Authority still does not understand that the council that has always been and pushed the most, even more than the Central Darling Shire, is the Broken Hill City Council, and they need to understand that Broken Hill and the council are very important. Probably the most per head of capita, the Menindee Lakes and Darling River, or the middle part of the Darling River and the lower Darling River, impacts our community more than any other community in the country. Any speakers against or for or statement?
As a
Councillor Turley.
seconder, Mr. Mayor, I'd say that this is certainly a disappointment. The chair visiting this area and not inviting Broken Hill in a timely manner. And for that, I asked Mr. Mayor if you could include the Environment Minister, that we include her in the correspondence, Tanya Plebiscite, who would be quite surprised that this authority is not including those impacted by the basin itself and the basin plan. Now, Broken Hill has a very long history. We are a member of the Murray-Darling Association, which is an advocate body for the Murray-Darling Basin Plan and around the best benefits for councils living along the basin. And for all of that, for this council to be left out of the conversation is certainly very disrespectful. And if you could include, if you're happy to include the Environment Minister into that, I would appreciate that.
I most definitely will include that, councillor Turley. Anyone else like, because it is an important one, anyone want to make comment? Councillor Brown, you're heavily into the water. Would you like to speak to that?
Just to say, Mr. Mayor, that I fully endorse this approach. I think we do have to be careful. This that Councillor Turley's mentioned Tanya Plibersek. I do think we need to be careful about the promises that the incoming Labor government has made about honouring the pledges in the plan for environmental water, that they don't focus on the lakes as a source for environmental water. I think it is really, really important that they understand the importance to the communities, the community importance of the lakes to our community, to Menindee, as it's their, source of water, their water supply, that they don't think this is an easy way, if you like, to get those gigalitres up.
Yeah. Would you like to add to it, councillor Brown, that we invite the Environment Minister to Broken Hill?
Oh, absolutely support that.
Councillor
I think-
Turley, happy to accept that into it?
I think, we may have some other, we'll try our best to do that too, and reinforce the importance of those issues, because she's on a very steep learning curve. She probably doesn't know this. I don't think she's ever been to Broken Hill.
Yes, she has.
Has she?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
indeed.
Sorry, she has been to
You've-
Broken
you've
Hill,
met
but she
her.
may, anyway, all right, I'll leave that.
She's,
No, we can certainly reinforce the importance of
Yeah.
this and try and get her out.
she is the Minister of something else as well that we've just sent off as
Oh.
well, so.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I would add to that she was the former health minister and visited Broken Hill and made the big announcement about the Super GP
Okay,
clinic. So she is quite familiar with that area, with this
All right.
area.
so
Um,
that's it. No one else? Councillor Page, it is an important one, so we'll have a few speakers. No, I haven't. There you go.
There we
Councillor
go.
Page.
You can hear Pagey now.
I can.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyway, for a long time frame, that system has been mismanaged over a long time frame. The dishonesty that's happened in regard to floodplain harvesting, everything's been against the people of this nation to have a very good water supply. It's been operated under greed and mismanagement and dishonesty. And let's hope the changes come about so we can have a river to be proud of, because over a long time frame, it's been virtually used as a sewage drain. It's a bloody disgrace. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, and let's hope the new elected federal government will straighten it all out, because it has to be straightened out sooner or later, and the sooner the better.
Thank you, councillor Page. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We move on to notice of motion. Councillor Chandler. Oh, sorry, councillor Turley. We'll definitely wait for you. Someone give councillor Turley a heater. Councillor Chandler.
After returning from the National Government Conference in Canberra, myself, two other good, Tom and the Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
Just before you go into the argument, would you just like to move your motion? We'll get a seconder.
Oh, sorry.
You can just say you move the motion as written. if you like.
Those in which notice being given on given number 2-22, Broken City Council's withdrawal from the New South Wales Local Government Association.
Thank you. Got a seconder for that? Councillor Hickey, Councillor Chandler, if you'd like to speak to it.
Yes, after returning from the National Government Conference in Canberra with a 12-hour drive either way, myself, the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor and the General Manager saved the Broken City Council $8,000 in airfare. I feel if we withdraw from the New South Wales Local Government Association, that will save us membership fees that occur yearly, and we can employ another person per year on the council. I don't think we get as much out of that association as we need, and the money's better spent in Broken Hill.
Thank you, Councillor Chandler. Do we have a speaker against? Councillor Brown?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an amendment, if I may.
Councillor Brown, your
State.
amendment?
My amendment is that any discussion of this matter be deferred pending a report from the General Manager giving a cost benefit analysis of our current membership of Local Government New South Wales. Cost benefit analysis. Of our current membership, and the implications for the council if our membership is withdrawn. So that's my
Oh,
Yeah,
do we have a
that's my
seconder
amendment.
for that? Would you like to attempt to speak to get a seconder, Councillor Brown?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would. My belief is that this is a very hasty and pretty misguided decision. The fact that every single council at the moment in New South Wales is a member of our peak body should tell us something about the benefits that councils as a whole see in belonging to the local government New South Wales. The reason I attempted to get a seconder for this motion asking for a report is that the money we actually save by being members of the association far exceeds whatever we pay in our annual subscription. I mean, what we pay, attendance at conference is just one very tiny part of local government, our participation in local government really when it comes down to it. And that's, you know, something that we can do or not. But something we do every year is send motions to local government. I mean, in fact, at this meeting, there are two reports asking for confirmation of the motions we're going to send to the Local Government New South Wales Conference in November. I think, Mr. Mayor, yourself, you spoke at the last meeting about how pleased you were to get support for the motion about energy, renewable energy being produced along the coast and in capital cities rather than here. Now, for something to pursue an idea like that, there's no way in the world that we're ever going to get any support. I mean, who do we go to for support if we don't have a peak body to go to? We just don't. You can say all you like about having a good relationship
Oh,
with ministers.
just, because it's only to get
Time?
a second.
Yeah.
Oh, no, just to get a seconder. I'll see if that you gain a seconder, but you're more than welcome to speak against the motion if you can't get a seconder anyway, and you just continue with your, I'll just see if you have is there a seconder for Councillor Brown's amendment? No seconder, but you can continue in opposition to the motion,
will.
Councillor Brown. Continue on.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
yeah,
Speech
yeah,
in opposition. I'd also point out, it's a shame that Councillor Gallagher's not here tonight because, and I did check this, bodies such as Western Division, for example, we would be immediately withdrawn from membership. We would have no ability to take part in the Western Division because the requirement for that, the updated constitution, is to be a financial member of local government New South Wales. Now, I'm not sure about whether that's a requirement for mining and energy related councils. I'd have to ask the general manager that. I don't know whether that's a requirement for that or the Country Mayors Association, but I'm sure about the Western Division. So we just have we'd have no ability to send motions. We'd have no ability to meet as a member. Councillor Gallagher's, position as president of that would just be null and void. There'd be we have no input into that at all. I understand, and again, that's the reason why I think it would be wise to get a report from the general manager about how the staff, how they take advantage of local government New South Wales services. I know that they do assist with advice on legal matters, advice on HR matters. They give up-to-date and instant information on changes that the government brings down, as well as offering, direct opportunities to consult with ministers. I believe as an individual council, I know, and I have to disagree with you, Mr. Mayor, our ability to get action from ministers. I may well, give you morning tea and say nice things, but actually putting any pressure on any levels of government to get change is a completely different matter, because if nobody else knows, you've got no ability to let anybody else know what you're doing. I certainly am very confident that if we were to receive a true analysis of the value that we get out of the association, as well as the cost to us, I think that the value would far outweigh any cost that we have.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Do we have a speaker for the motion? Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, numerous things there that Councillor Brown said. That I've just been to the ALGA conference, and number one, there was 50 odd motions. So there's 50 odd councillors didn't get their motions heard because they ran out of time, but they had all these guest speakers on talking about stuff that didn't concern most of us anyway. It's absolutely disappointing that councillors can put in motions and they come up on the page and they're not heard. So then they're heard by the ALGA's committee, and that's not a fair hearing at all. That's nothing, means nothing at all. So that's one of the big ones. And one of ours was a motion from Broken Hill, from Mayor Kennedy, and from our council, which wasn't heard, which was an extremely important motion to be heard this week by the ALGA committee. So that's one thing against it totally. The diversity between, or parity between city and country is just, it's poles apart. The motions that were coming out of the cities only concerned the cities, didn't concern rural, regional, remote towns right throughout Australia. And a lot of people are disappointed, and there's a lot of voting. And as Mayor Kennedy spoke on on the energy, and I think it was beaten 106 to about 116. We weren't beaten by much at all. And that all come from regional, rural and remote councils throughout Australia. So obviously there's a big difference in the way of thinking between the councils. few of the other things that happened there was the at the local government one was when they wanted to get rid of real estate agents and developers and that. And there's that many councils came to me after the ALGA to ask me what we thought, and the fact that they could start a Shires Association again as an alternative to the ALGA or to the LGA, get back into that. And I think the Western Division was, Councillor Gallagher was telling me that there's something like 20 odd councils want to come back into the Western Division thing because they like the way it's handled, and the way it's handled better than the other hearings that they go to. And I think that's another thing. So I think maybe we're just a little bit premature to pull out now, but I would think with the amount of people that come and spoke to me throughout that conference, that there would be an alternative if it goes a bit further, and people are just absolutely disgusted with the way it's going on at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Hickey. Any speakers for?
I'll speak against
Against, sorry.
Mayor Kennedy. Thank you. I've taken great consideration and thought through Councillor Chandler's motion. And I believe we have just paid our membership fees for a start. But I also believe there needs to be some changes at LG New South Wales. They need to start realising that regional areas exist, and it's not all about the east coast of the state. And I believe the best way to drive change within this organisation is to remain in the organisation, so we can get in there and continue to drive change. I believe we do get value from it. I'm certainly a supporter of peak bodies. I'm certainly a supporter of my peak body in my day job, but I also call them out when I believe there's bad behaviour in a city-centric view, which they certainly have as well. And I've certainly found in that industry that we get a better voice if we remain in there and fight for change. So on that, I can't support Councillor Chandler's motion on the fact that if we're outside of the LG New South Wales, we're unable to fight for change, we're unable to fight for regional Australia, and we're unable to have a voice around the table. But I certainly hope if Broken Hill was to remain in, they certainly heed our warnings and start to listen to regional areas. If the vote goes the other way, well, they still need to heed those changes. Otherwise, will be a domino effect across regional councils. But at this time, I support staying in LG New South Wales and do not support the motion as tabled.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Just before I go to you, Councillor Page, I'll just go to the General Manager. So the annual fees, can they be claimed back?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. No, their policy is once they're paid at the commencement of the year, they're for the full financial year. Any withdrawal would mean a loss in those fees paid.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Councillor Page.
Yes, Mayor Kennedy. We all talk about cost on a regular basis. If you go through and look at the cost per year for us to be a member of the organisation, the travel cost, there's admin cost, you can go on and on, all these costs. Every council employee, the general manager, works in this area. It's called admin costs. So if we do go ahead and do the costings, we need to make sure that every dollar that we spend or cost us, the ratepayers, that should be listed in there as costings to stay a member. There's lots, and I think you'll be surprised the amount of money that the total comes to. There's lots of issues in this town. I'm sure, Mr. Mayor, you'd agree. We need more housing, short-term housing, whether it's people with domestic violence issues, people living on the street. So there's a lot of things we could spend our money on once we have a look at the cost, what it's actually costing this council. So I'd like to see a lot of detail put into whatever we decide here tonight, so we know what the costings are and how much we can save. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Page. Any further speakers?
Just a question. there,
Yes, councillor
Mr.
Brown.
Mayor, I almost think that councillor Page would be prepared to have seconded my amendment, which was asking for a report.
I think
about the
councillor,
cost
That's
and
not the
benefit.
case,
I think
councillor
councillor Page
Brown.
wants to pull out and find out how much we save. The other way around.
No, but it wasn't what he just said.
Right, thank you. So I foreshadow, if this motion that we're about to put up is defeated, I'll shadow a further motion. I'd like to just say thank you to all councillors, because it has been a good debate and there's been a number of really good points brought up from both sides of the argument. So all those in favour of the motion to withdraw from the Local Government New South Wales, councillor Page, councillor Chandler and councillor Hickey. All those against? Councillor Brown, councillor Boland, councillor Jewett and Mayor Kennedy. The foreshadowed motion that I wish to move is that, I'll give that to Lisa. I'll just read it off of here. One sec. So it's really taken into account what's been said, because I do also agree that it's very city eccentric, the Local Government New South Wales, so that the motion is that the correspondence be sent to Local Government New South Wales and all member councils, highlighting the discussions and vote to withdraw our membership from the Local Government New South Wales. That the correspondence includes a request that the Local Government New South Wales acknowledge and pledge to address the current voting system that leans towards inner city councils having all say over the policy direction, that in many cases has a severe negative impact on regional and remote councils, that Broken Hill City Council readdress and vote on the continued membership of Local Government New South Wales at the November meeting of council. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Boland. The reason I move this is I take note of what Councillor Brown said about the cost. I also take note about what Councillor Page, Councillor Chandler, Councillor Hickey and myself actually believe is that it is greatly driven by Sydney councils. Without a doubt, when we were over in the local national conference of Canberra, what tended to happen over there was if there was no speaking against, it was automatically passed unanimously. The problem also addressed by this is the executives of both the Local Government New South Wales and the National Executive of the Local Government Australia decide what policies to follow up regardless of what members vote. And for us to take the time to send those motions and only half of them are dealt with, we almost got it up that the motions were to continue. They almost had a fit because they would have been 3 or 4 hours over time. If this conference is not about member councils being able to push what they want on a policy platform, then these bodies are not our peak bodies. These are bodies that are run by an executive. They decide what's good for all councils, regardless of state, regional, city, remote, because the motion, and it's later on in this, the motion we put up, even though we put an amendment to make sure that it was mining councils, said all regional councils will get a fringe benefit 100% tax, which virtually means that we've now got no chance of that being coming up. So the peak body just costs Broken Hill and the mining councils a big chance of getting something that was very good to all of us, because they didn't even take the time to read they didn't put it in there right in the first place, and then they didn't take the time to read our amendment that we put in, that I would have debated, and I'm sure I would have got a considerable support from the councils that were there. So until these bodies and these people in charge start to take notice of councils, I hope this is a wake-up call, as councillor Boland said, because if they don't represent Broken Hill and they don't start representing member councils, then I'm sure it won't be just our council that pulls out. Do we have a speaker against that motion? Councillor Brown?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was part of the group that held a lot of discussions when it was first proposed that the Shires Association local and what was then the LGA merge, and that took place over a number of years. And I can assure you that as far as New South Wales is concerned, the rural and regional and the metropolitan members have exactly the same weight. The big debate at the time was whether places like Newcastle would be included as part of rural and regional. I've got pretty strong feelings about that. But in terms of numbers, they're actually exactly the same votes for rural and regional and city, so that there shouldn't be these issues shouldn't be dominated by the city votes. And we haven't mentioned Councillor Turley's presidency. The fact that Councillor Turley, I hope people do appreciate the value of her being president. This is totally unprecedented that someone representing a very small regional council can be president of local government New South Wales, because the constitution is set up so that the presidency alternates between the rural and regionals and the city. I mean, this is a marvellous opportunity we have to get focus on our specific issues. That's why, one of the main reasons why I can't understand why you would want to deny yourself that possibility. It's the numbers don't add up. Even in the National General Assembly, it's one vote for per council, so that everyone has the same right. And I see later in the business paper there is an acknowledgement that the ALGA board will be considering that motion, which is probably, I mean, it remains to be seen, I suppose, what the result of that is, but at least the motion will be considered. I mean, I wasn't at that conference, obviously, but I have been to similar ones before, and I know what happens is always more business than can be catered for. It is the organisations are structured to give everyone an equal chance.
Just on those, but do we have any speakers for the motion?
I'll speak for your motion.
Councillor Boland.
Mayor Kennedy. I take Councillor Brown's comments on board, but I also bring the attention, I just returned from Women in Local Governance Conference where I attended. I was one of the few male delegates there. I would like to see more males there to understand the challenges that our female councillors face. But in saying that, Councillor Brown is chair of LG New South Wales, and I take note at
Councillor Turley.
Councillor Turley. What did I was Councillor Brown, sorry. I take note that during that conference, Councillor Turley went against what was voted on the floor of this chamber and what our ratepayers, our community, said they did not want, which was superannuation paid to councillors. It was voted down on this chamber from feedback from our community, and Councillor Turley at that conference spoke against what this council voted for. So it may be a good thing having a councillor as an LG New South Wales president, but I would hope that councillor would support the decisions made on the floor of this chamber, that we have got feedback from the local community that they did not want that happening.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Any speakers against, further speakers against? Just write a reply. This isn't about withdrawing from the local government New South Wales. It's about pointing out, which is obvious and was obvious to, I'd say without a doubt, Councillor Chandler and Councillor Hickey at the national conference. The regional councils are very disappointed when you have Newcastle Newcastle Council counted as a regional council and say that we have equal votes when just about every motion they put through was even worse than most of the city councils. I think they're on par for what you'd get out of the Melbourne city centre or the Sydney city centre. They certainly do not represent what truly regional Australia is. So when you say we have the same vote, no, we don't. We don't even go near. The few times I got up, well, I got up quite a few times and I plan to get up many more times. We had about 2.5 hours of debate in a 3-day period. Why are we part of an organisation that doesn't allow the member councils to really put their points of view forward? It's fine for them to discuss it. I could just about guarantee I would have been able to get the vote up for our mining related 100% fringe benefits. They may vote against it, but even if they vote for it, it's not going to be what we asked for anyway. So it's fine to say that we've got as Councillor Boland said, we've got a president of the local government, New South Wales. Well, that's only good if the person that's representing Broken Hill represents what this council was. And this council elected this council with a majority of people that in a lot of things think differently to what our former mayor and now president of local government New South Wales believes. And that is one of the problems just there. If the executive are totally in charge, I cannot, and unless they consider changing that, support an organisation that enacts policy that goes against Broken Hill. We are better off being out rowing our own boat saying we disagree with it than having a policy where you have a member of the state, federal, Labor or Liberal saying, no, you councillors agreed with it, you voted that way. No, we didn't. And so that's why it's so important that they understand. And when I talk about changing the position, and I've spoken to the Vice President of the local government, New South Wales, on these important policy decisions that are close in the vote, they should not go ahead. It should be put aside. Unless you can get a clear majority of say 2/3, it should not be enacted on all councils because it's wrong. All those in favour, Councillor Page, before we put it.
What I've heard tonight is very disappointing, and shouldn't be accepted that we have a council law that goes and votes against our city and our people. And what it sounds like to me, what you've had to say tonight, the executive's driven by politics and not for the people.
I agree, Councillor Page, and we hope we change it. All those in favour? Councillor Page, Councillor Boland, Councillor Jewett, Councillor Chandler, Deputy Mayor Hickey and myself. Against, Councillor Brown. I declare the motion passed. Thank you, councillors. We'll wait for Councillor Turley to come back in. Aye. I did say we needed a heater. We will deliberately debate it. We'll have a cup of tea and a 5-minute adjournment. Sorry to keep you out there, Councillor Turley. It was a very, just for your information, the original motion was defeated. The motion that's been passed is that we send, you'll be, so what was passed was the correspondent be sent to the local government, New South Wales and all member councils, highlighting the discussion and vote to withdraw from our membership, that the correspondence includes a request that local government New South Wales acknowledge and pledge to address current voting systems that leans towards inner city councils having all say over the policy direction, that in many cases has a severe negative impact on regional remote councils, that Broken Hill City Council readdress the vote and continue on the continued membership in November. So, yes, that's all it was.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you'd be pleased to know that local government New South Wales is holding an initial summit, a rural summit.
Excellent.
To try and address the challenges at debate.
Excellent, Councillor Turley, excellent.
And that'll be in February before the state election.
Thank you, excellent. So rescission motions are nil. We have nil written reports, but councillor Jewett would like to just briefly speak about her time at the Women's Conference. And you might as well, if you like, councillor Turley. No, councillor Jewett.
Sorry, maybe councillor Boland. I wasn't there for.
No, but you can
Yeah,
still speak
yeah.
if you want. You were
Okay,
there,
yeah, sure.
councillor Jewett.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Yes, I did attend the Women in Council Conference in Fairfield, supported by councillor Boland. I was grateful for the opportunity. I learnt quite a bit, met some people. The speakers were really interesting. It would be a once-off trip for me. I wouldn't attend another one. But again, I am grateful for going. And yeah, was just disappointed to be singled out by the president over something that I didn't think I was attending this conference for, based on superannuation and how we voted majority, like as a majority council. But other than that, it was wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you, councillor Jewett. So that was to do with a superannuation vote, councillor Turley.
Can I just clarify that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
A question was asked from the audience about our superannuation, what we did. And if you're asked from the audience, it's very hard to say. I thought I reflected it well by saying who here voted for it, thinking that there wouldn't be a big vote. And there was a massive vote. So thank you for that. Certainly didn't highlight councillors, but anyway.
Thank you, councillor Turley. We move on to health and building. Item 1, Broken Hill City Council report number 165/22 dated July 07, 22, development application 132/2021, proposed demolition existing structure on site and construction of a new service station. Do we have a mover for a
I'll
motion?
Move that as
Councillor
written.
Boland, you move the recommendation? Move the recommendation?
Yes, as written, sorry.
Seconder? Councillor Turley, speak to it, councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy, coming to you as the unofficial mayor of the South. Well,
For the gallery, for the people watching, that's Lee Hermison laughing in the background.
yes, as an adopted B group of Southie, I must admit, best kept secret in Broken Hill, that one. It's great to see some development happening south side. It'd be great to see the airport as well, but that's another one. But yeah, great to see this DA come up. There was a few issues that were raised, but I certainly think it has been well documented how they will be dealt with. So congratulations to Cobus and his team for addressing those issues, and it'll be good to have a close to a supermarket out the south again. But I mean, any time there's a good development like this coming into the city, it's a good thing, whatever side of the hill it's on. So yeah, looking forward to seeing some development and action out the south.
Thank you, councillor Boland. Any speakers against? No brief comments? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, so we still have to read out names even though it's unanimous. Councillor Page, Councillor Turley, Councillor Brown, Councillor Boland, Councillor Jewett, Councillor Chandler, Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey, and Mayor Tom Kennedy. Thank you. Carried unanimously. Item 2 is the minutes of the Friends and Flora of the Barrier Ranges Committee. Do we have a mover for that? Move to Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Turley. Would you like to speak to that at all, Councillor Brown?
No, not really, Mr. Mayor. I think the recommendation does include that little bit of extra that we discussed at the meeting, sort of acknowledgement of the work of that particular committee, which is the best attended committee as far as attendance at meetings, and also the largest 355 committee, I'm sure.
Most definitely, and I congratulate you and all your members, Councillor Brown. It's a great committee and it does a great job. So thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We move on to further reports. Item 1 is the progress of council's motions remitted to the National General Assembly of Local Government. Councillor-
Mr. Mayor, I'll step
Oh,
outside.
yeah, sorry,
But
yes,
this time I will take a coat with me.
yes. I think this one will be, I should hope, a little bit quicker.
Trust me.
All right. We have a mover, Councillor Hickey. We have a seconder. Councillor Boland, you'd like to speak to it, Councillor Hickey?
Yes, Mayor Kennedy. I don't know whether we can get this motion amended because it's not as we put it to the ALGA. And the motion actually reads that the National General Assembly, Local Government, New South Wales calls on the federal government to create a regional tax incentive to equalise the current remote area fringe benefit tax concessions from 50% to 100% to enable all employees residing in, and it should have said mining regions.
Which
And-
included those main towns that we have.
Yes, which there's I think 8 cities on the Australian city mining cities, and that's what it was about, and they're remoting areas. And yet they've put it as regional and remote, which means the whole of regional Australia, which is just not going to get up. And it's just, it defeats the whole purpose of this motion. And I don't know, can we,
You happy to move an addendum to your
I am.
motion to reflect
I can.
what we have
Yep.
originally written?
Yep, can I move that now?
Yep.
I'd like to move that to say to cross out the words regional and make it mining cities and remote communities.
You know, the cities, Jane.
The,
Yep.
yeah, for those part of the, and
They include Karratha, Mount
Those-
Isa, Broken Hill, Isaac, Kalgoorlie. So there's a few of them, but they're the ones that. Yep. Trial council. So you want what we moved as.
what we
amendment
moved
to-
as a, yeah, what
yeah.
we actually moved.
Yep.
And I don't know whether we have to change what's in the minutes on that in here, probably not.
Don't need to.
No, no,
Councillor Boland, you happy to second that?
No.
No, accept that. Any speakers against that? So just for everyone, it's about us getting the support of the Australian local government to support mining city, the More Than Mining program, which is 100% fringe benefits, which will allow people to buy a house or rent their houses before tax income rather than the after tax income. Councillor Brown, will you?
A question, Mr. Mayor, it's not related to this directly, but it's just a question about the Association of Mining, the State Association of Mining Related Councils. Have we been represented on any of their meetings this year? I mean, you recall Councillor Nolan always.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we are being represented, and Deputy Mayor Hickey is council's representative as well.
But have we been to meetings? Because I would have had meetings. I'm not sure if Councillor Hickey's been to have we had?
No,
meetings?
we were an apology for the last one, which was the first one of the new term. And then I'll have to check the meeting date for the next meeting.
Yeah, the reason for asking is that, this is a really important issue. I know exactly when, we heard that presentation by, and I can't remember his name, from Western Australia. It's very, very impressive. I mean, it might be good to get, depending on how this goes with the ALGA board, it would be good to keep the momentum going and by, seeing what the members of that particular organisation do. Because I think it's getting to be quite an influential one if Councillor Hickey maybe be able to take that along to them.
Yeah, Brendan Grills is his name,
Yeah, Brendan
Councillor
Grills.
Brown. So all those in favour? Declare it carried unanimously. We won't leave Councillor Turley out too long this time, even though that's what you'll try. Know what you're up to, Councillor Hickey. That was passed, Councillor Turley, as written, but the motion amended to say mining, the main mining councils as opposed to regional, and just going to send back to the Australian local government just to clarify our wording.
Mr. Mayor, can I add to that? if you could send that to me in the
Yes.
first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
The national board is meeting tomorrow
Oh, okay.
and I'm on the national
Yep.
board.
Yep.
So I can put
Yep.
that amendment in
Yep, no worries.
and so we can
If
make
you
those
could
changes.
just liaise with the general
Yeah,
manager,
If you
councillor
send it
Turley,
to
that'd be
me
great.
first thing in the morning, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So item 2 is childcare availability in Broken Hill. Do we have a mover for that? Moved councillor Hickey, seconded councillor Turley. Councillor Hickey, you'd like to just speak to that?
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Yeah, as a recommendation, Broken Hill City Council report 155/22 dated July 5, 2022 be received, and that reply correspondence from the Honourable Dr. Anne Allied MP, Minister for Early Childhood Education dated 29th of June 2022, advising of various government strategies to support accessible childcare for families in Australia be received and noted. And that's fine to be able to received and noted. The correspondence, if you read it, actually says nothing at all. It really just tells us where you can apply and what you can do, but it wasn't any great support or anything like that. So I think we need to continue on with our correspondence to Roy Butler as our state member and to our federal member as well, and follow that up further because it's a drastic situation. We need it. We need to get as much help as we can get.
Happy to defer back to policy in
To-
general?
Yes, happy to do
for-
that.
For you, happy to accept that, councillor Turley, that we defer back to get another round of correspondence off to the appropriate minister. Councillor Brown?
Again, just a question, Mr. Mayor, about the local, that local expression of interest, you know, from
Yep.
a while ago that we had to understand that that's kind of lapsed or is still waiting
No, it's
for
got
a
5
developer
years.
or something, someone to actually,
5 years to take it up.
Got 5 years to take it up.
Right.
Councillor.
Yeah,
Hickey,
it's
you'd
been
like-
approved by council, but they've got
Yeah.
5 years to take it up. And we have got another interested party that I've been speaking to lately. But they're not quite, they just got to get their eggs in a basket first, but then they'll come to council.
Yes, it's one that we've all, as a council, have followed up for a while, and it's one that I think we can all say that it's one that we're strong on trying to get childcare availability in Broken Hill. Would you like, you don't need to say, you would like to say, no, you're right, yep. That's it, councillor. Hickey? Yep, all those, councillor
Sorry, I'm
Turley, go.
just going to ask, has there been a meeting with our federal member?
Yes,
And
yes. So he
he's- yeah.
brought it up again and he's still following it up. Same thing. You run into roadblocks that I suppose we just have to keep on pushing it and the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and we've got to make sure we're the squeakiest wheel out there. So yeah, it was brought up. We had a meeting about a fortnight ago. Yeah, you weren't. Yeah, and yes, that was brought up then as well. So all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 4, delegates of the regional capitals, Australian and regional cities. Do we have a mover for that?
Mr. Mayor, I think you missed item 3.
Oh, did I? I
And
had it in
can
my
I
hand. I
say
did. Yes.
But
you're
I may
very
have
right.
missed one conflict of interest. So this is actually a conflict of interest
Oh,
as
yes.
well.
Yep.
I did think there was another one and
Yeah.
so my apologies for that. So I'll remove myself from the chamber.
No worries, councillor Turley. Yeah. We'll get you one of those little infrared ones out there. So this is further motions to Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference held in Hunter Valley. Do we have a mover for that?
That way.
Councillor Hickey, we have a seconder for that. Councillor Boland, Councillor Hickey.
There's several things like, there's several motions to go to the conference. Minute number 46872, that conference calls on the Australian government to legislate that at least 50% of renewable energy is generated in the capital cities of Australia, and at least 75% of that is produced in Sydney and Melbourne. At the ALGA, they moved that we became 100% renewable by 2050, and it came from, again, the city latte drinking state suburbs, and the bush pays for it because all the wind farms and all the solar farms are out in regional Australia. They're not in the city. And Mayor Kennedy got up and spoke and said, well, how about we do this? And and you can have some wind farms right along the coast because you've got regular wind
Sea breeze.
and sea breeze, and it would just look pretty good anyway off Bondi. A few wind towers and that would look pretty good. And so we're going to move that way, that they have to come up with a formula that 63% of the population live in those cities, so they better produce 50% of at least of their green energy. And then they might find out how hard it is, or what the regions put up with, because our barrier range has got wind towers all over them. They're not as pretty as they used to be, but we put up with it. We're happy to do that to make our city greener and use green energy. We've got 550,000 solar panels out there. We're going down to the what are they called? The hydro store, which is another avenue, and council building their own, putting their own solar in. But it's time the cities come the other way. So that was part of the motion that's going there to the conference. The other one is that the conference calls on local government New South Wales to lobby the New South Wales government to change the current legislated base rate maximum contribution amount of each individual rating category from 50% to 70% to allow for a fairer balance between the benefit principle and the ability to pay principle. Now, that is the ad valorem rate on your rates, the ad valorem being that is based on the unimproved capital value. And if they can shift that to 70%, then there's only a slight rise or a slight increase for the areas that are unimproved capital value is higher as against the areas where they're not. And I think in a city like Broken Hill, we all have the equal services. There's no area that doesn't miss out on a service. It's seven Ks, I think, from one end to the other. Why should one lot pay, thousands and thousands of dollars above the other? I think it just squares it up a little bit within the city. And that's another motion we're going to put to them. Thank you. Thank
you, Councillor Ickes. Councillor Brown, and then you, Councillor Page. Councillor Brown. You have to turn Councillor. Oh, it's all right. It's okay now, Councillor Brown.
It's just something that occurred to me after we debated this before, actually, and it's probably too late to change anything. I don't know whether that would be acceptable anyway. But one of the problems really seems to me that we have here in the regions with renewable energy installations is that we don't get any financial benefit from it. And I think that was probably our fault when particularly with the wind farm, because it did affect us directly, but all the attention was on the effect on Silverton. But I think, we had an effect too. And I think we probably should have been gone a bit harder on the voluntary planning agreements and so on, and got some financial benefit. I mean, it just seems to me that we're generating all this electricity here. It goes down the grid and we don't get any financial benefit in terms of actually, money in the bank for customers here. So, I mean, for me, and I wish I'd thought of it at the time of the meeting, maybe we could think in addition to this, as something that is part of, is a guaranteed part of any sort of regional, wind farm, solar farm, whatever it is, wave or whatever it is in a local government area, that there is some financial benefit, a real financial benefit to the people in that area.
Very well
built
said.
into that. So I don't know whether it's too late to add that now or
don't think
something.
it would be, Councillor Brown. Is it too late? So I reckon what we could do is we could probably go two ways, is that the government to subsidise areas that go well above what their contribution to renewed energy is, and that would be in the form of lower electricity for those areas, or including if the capital cities and that want to offset not having windmills in those areas, then the regional areas that are willing to take more than their share to be compensated. And if the general manager could write up, so you're happy to add that to you. Who was the seconder? Councillor Boland. You happy to accept that? Okay, Councillor Brown. Councillor Page.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, in regard to producing all the electricity in the outback, there's a huge loss of electricity from here to those people living in the city. So that's
transmission losses.
Transmission losses. But the other issue about having fair rates all over Broken Hill is if you're a pensioner in a area, and I've had pensioners come to me every year for a lot of years saying that they find it hard to financially survive because they live in those areas. And I think it's very unfair on those people. They worked hard all their life and then they can't afford to live there anymore. So it's an issue that we do need to deal with.
I couldn't agree more, councillor Page. What this motion is attempting to do is, so your base rate will account for 70% of your rates. The ad valorem will account for 30%, which will significantly drop those bigger rates and without increasing the smaller rates much at all. So it really is about making sure those people on a low fixed income can afford to remain in their homes. And we do hope at some stage that the state government moves to do that, because it was from our brief discussions, probably only us and maybe a handful of the councils across the country that it's affected as dramatically. Most other people don't have the issues that we have here in Broken Hill. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, councillor Brown, for your suggestion. Someone like to get councillor Turley? Just for your information, councillor Brown, it was councillor Turley, it was passed as written. Councillor Brown suggested that we rewrite to the conference, and you as the chairman, so you're well aware of this, is where it says renewables generated in the capital cities, there's a potential for that to be offset to pay regional towns like it's Broken Hill to take more than their share so that we can get cheaper electricity more or less, or and also when governments look at subsidising these, they look at areas that have more than their share and look at giving a return to the community as well. Item 4, council's delegates to the regional capital, Australian regional cities, New South Wales. Move, councillor Hickey, seconded. Councillor Turley, nothing to speak to that?
No, I don't really need to speak on it, just move as written. It's most important that we are represented at these boards of, council delegates to regional capitals, and like the mining one as well, the mining cities one, that at least the mayor and deputy mayor or one or the other, whoever can make it. But it's most important that we are at those and represented.
A lot more information that directly relates to Broken Hill and the council. Yeah. Any speakers against? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5, draft review local orders policy for public exhibition. We have a mover for that. Councillor Boland, seconded. Councillor Jewett. Councillor Boland.
I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. It's heading off to the 28-day for public comment and the workshops being conducted. So I'll leave it there.
All right. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 6, draft reviewed local approvals policy for public exhibition. We have a mover for that. Councillor Boland, seconded. Councillor Brown. Councillor Boland.
Same comments as the last one, heading off to public comment. So I probably should have added in the last one as well that ask all the community to read it and submit any concerns they have, because we are elected by them to represent them.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Councillor Brown? No, just second. Item 7, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 7, draft review compliance enforcement policy for public exhibition. We have a mover for that. Councillor Boland, we have a seconder. Councillor Page, Councillor Boland.
This one I am very happy to see going to the public. The compliance and enforcement policy has obviously created some issues in the past. So this is a great, we've sat down, we've re-looked at it, and this is a really good time for the public to get their feedback in around it on an area that has caused council some grief in the past.
No, any other councillors? No, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 8, minutes of the Audit and Risk Improvement Committee. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Boland, seconder. Councillor Chandler, Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I run my own board meetings like this as well. The Audit and Risk Committee is an important one, and I believe council was ahead of the game with setting ours up. And it's good for the community again to know that the council takes audit risk and improvement very seriously. And there's a lot of really high caliber talent on that committee that really puts in a lot of input and different viewpoints into that committee.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Anyone speak? Councillor Turley?
Look, probably just a comment, and I think it was a very good response by the Deputy Mayor when there was a question asked about mining and the contribution mining plays for Broken Hill. And it just reminded me, Mr. Mayor, and I'm not sure if here I can ask or later on, have we been able to attend the mining and energy related council meetings yet? Oh, you just wait on.
We can
So you
answer it, Councillor
understand
Turley.
The rule is you're supposed to tell me these things.
Councillor Turley. So the first one will an apology. And there's been one since the new term, but we're organised for the next one. Yeah.
Councillor Nolan would,
Yes,
I think
yes,
he's listening, but
definitely.
he always gave an excellent
Yep.
report and kept us updated about, particularly about the industry of energy when energy was added.
So our delegate is Councillor Hickey for that one, and yeah, so he'll attend the next one. All those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. Item 9, nominations for appointment of community representatives to the Section 355 community committees. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Chandler, seconder. Councillor Jewett, Councillor Chandler, would you like to speak to that? No. I suppose just it's good to see more people putting their hands up. It's always good to see volunteers to continue to put their hand up. All those in favour? Oh, Councillor Brown, yes, thank you, Councillor Brown, sorry.
Just a question. It's a question about the working groups and some of these other committees too. Just a query about the round table, what's it called? The community round table, whether has met yet, or do we get the do we all get an invitation to that, or when will that start to happen?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, through you. There hasn't been a date set for the community roundtable, but it will be given to all councillors as per usual practice. There needs to be a revision on the structure of the community roundtable in consultation with councillors, just about how it's going to operate into the future. I don't think it actually provided probably the benefit that it was designed to over the last couple of terms. So a bit of a brainstorm session is required there about how we can bring that together and be a bit more collaborative in regards to making sure that we have attendance by all government agencies and all contributors of the community strategic plan. One of the fundamental issues is the community strategic plan is the community's plan, with council being the custodian of it. However, at the moment, it always comes back to council being responsible for the whole plans, about how we can actually make that that committee more collaborative and actually moving towards those outcomes in the future. So a date hasn't been set yet.
Councillor Brown?
Yes, and some of the other working groups, I mean, the RAP committee has met. I suppose you could define that as a working group, but say the volunteer working group hasn't met. The Australia Day Working Group hasn't yet met. And I don't know, there's no process in, what's come out about the asset and advisory committees that covers how the working groups are going to get started and who's responsible for
Would
it.
you, would councillors be prepared to have a workshop to get this all up and running and done?
Yeah. whatever.
You're happy with that, councillor Brown,
Yeah.
if to move
Yeah.
that as part, who was the mover of this? Councillor Chandler, happy to add councillor Brown's suggestion that we have a working workshop to arrange and get things up and running in all things, get it all. I know COVID did a lot of stuff and a new council elected, and I think we need to start, as councillor Brown said, we've got to start making sure these things are happening rather than just
Yeah.
have them sitting there.
Yes, well, and those new, the youth and the disability and those, I mean, I don't know, didn't volunteer for any of those, but I'm not sure whether whether there's a process for actually for those to convene, to be convened, whether they meet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I think you're talking about just in the processes in general, we'll just get them all up
Yeah.
and working. So
Yes.
councillors are all, I know we've had our induction things and all that sort of stuff, but as the general manager said with the round table, now both the general manager and I have been meeting with the police, the health, education, and it really is an important one that we have to get right and get it focused so that it is delivering. So I agree totally there, councillor Brown. That's the one where it can be driven and make sure that council and other groups are up to date with everything that's going on. But we need to, I think as councillors, we need to get together and we have to make sure that we all know what we have to do and start calling the meetings. Councillor Turley.
Mr. Mayor, look, I just want to support councillor Brown in her recommendation, and particularly around those committees, the voluntary committee, the Australia Day, the Tidy Towns. These are really critical. It's the council's 7 months in going on 8. So I'm very happy to support this motion. I think for all the councillors, they want to do the best and to go forward. So let's hope that we could have this meeting very quickly.
Couple of weeks. Councillors happy with a couple of weeks to get we'll just go through and make sure we all know the processes about calling meetings and making sure they're happening. So all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Community assistance grants. Item 10, do we have a mover for that?
I'll move recommendation as written.
Councillor Boland, seconded. Councillor Jewett, Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. This is a great program. It's always good to help the community. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough of the committee. I sit on 2 grants committees, and they're very, very rewarding committees to be sitting on it. It's great to be able to help the community because that's what we're all here for.
Thank you, councillor Boland. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We come to a very important one that councillor Page is biting at the bit to move. Memorandum of Understanding, Silver City Pastoral and Agricultural Association, Silver City Show Committee and Broken Hill Council. Councillor Page?
Yes,
move
thank you, Mr.
We have a
Mayor.
seconder. Councillor Turley, Councillor Page.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak on this issue. It's an area where the Silver City Show represents, or it's a good service to all age groups in Broken Hill. And we all love our Silver City Show, and I'd like to thank the Mayor and the General Manager, the GM.
And the council, and the council, right.
Mr. GM put this in the system with the support of the Mayor. So
Thank
both
you.
of you, thank you very much. And then the Broken Hill people will be very grateful for what you've done. Thank you.
Councillor Turley, you'd like to speak to it?
No, this is just a cornerstone for all our families to attend. It's, the event I never miss. I won't want to list what I actually eat out there, but also go on the dodging cars. But for all families and kids, we've got to have hope. We've got to have joy. And to be able to go to the show is so important. And my congratulations to Councillor Page for his ongoing commitment.
For sure. All those in favour? Declare it carried. Thank you, councillor Page and councillor Turley. Item 12, investment report for June. Moved, councillor.
I'll move
Boland.
those,
I thought
written.
so. We have a seconder. Councillor Turley, councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Obviously, we're all aware of the issues in the economy right now. But interesting that the cash deposit, the term deposits are going up quite significantly now at 2.8% per annum and 3.9% per annum. So cash rates are starting to head north.
Yeah, for sure. All those in favour? No one speak? No, I thought, no. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Boland, you go out in the cold.
We could possibly have a little break for a while he's out.
Oh, that's a bit quick. Can't we keep him out there, councillor Turley? Would you like to speak to
I
that?
understand the pain. So, yeah, I will. I'm going to take 15 minutes. So
I'll give
timing.
you extra time. You go
Thank
for it.
you. I'm going to call for an extension and want everybody to support me on this.
For
No,
sure.
Quickly, this is absolutely an important festival for Broken Hill, not only for attracting tourists, it supports the industry, it builds reputation not only in New South Wales, around Australia and internationally. It really needs our support. Closing the area, making it an alcohol-free zone for the festival is something we have done for the last 5 years. And for this, I ask council to continue the support to make sure that the Broken Hill Festival, I think the only drag queen festival in Australia, continues to have the support of our town.
Thank you, councillor Turley. Councillor Page. Are you gonna add an amendment that councillor Chandler has to be our rep and dress up?
Yeah, it's a fairly big issue, and you know, every family has people in the family. I have lots of grandchildren. I love them dearly, and one of them, a female one, has a female partner, and I love her dearly. And I'd like to. My wife told me not to say this, but anyway, you know, I think it's the more effort that we can all do to make those people feel welcome. Of Broken Hill City Council, I'd like to see a report come down from Broken Hill City Council how in the future we can support these people and let them feel welcome. Quite a few of my grandchildren were born in Broken Hill. They don't necessarily live here now. So I think it would go a long way to, if that report comes down, that we are a very friendly town, always have been and always will be.
Yeah. Maybe one of the committee meetings, committee can bring that down. I'd just like to say it is a great event that does bring a lot of money in. It's probably in our top 2 or 3 events. So I agree, councillors, about the importance of it. All those in favour? Yeah, councillor Page seconded. Yeah. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We could have left him out just a little bit longer, I think. No, I know, that's why it would have been funny. Yeah, we were laughing. Well, councillor Brown kept the conversation going. Item 14, local traffic committee meeting minutes, councillor Brown. Oh,
Need to tell the council.
oh,
what the
yes,
outcome
sorry.
is.
It was passed as written, councillor Boland. Councillor Page tried to move an amendment that councillor Chandler be our representative dressed in drag for that night, but he couldn't get a seconder. Item 14, minutes of the local traffic committee, councillor Brown, seconded. Councillor Tully, anything of outstand, councillor Brown?
No, Mr. Mayor, I mean, they're quite full minutes and
Yeah.
there's the whole process over many months when you find your way around those minutes. But unless there are any questions, nothing to report. We're dealing with all of those matters that have been sort of brought up at the public forum. The Burke School in particular, that's kind of quite a few inquiries, and the Department of Education, a person is looking actively liaising with the school and looking at that. There's also another ongoing issue with parking in Union Street, which is also a long-standing one. 50% of people want it and 50% don't. So it's one of those difficult ones, but the sort of things are moving. So unless there are questions, I'll leave it at that.
No, I just, it's just good that you say, because for the people in the gallery and the people listening, because they go on more what you say rather than and you're the person that's on it and knows best. So thank you. All those in favour? Declared it carried unanimously. Minutes of the Broken Hill Art Gallery Advisory. You have a mover for that? Move Councillor Turley, seconded Councillor Boland. Councillor Turley.
Mr. Mayor, this was our first committee meeting, and so it was a very interesting time. We did forget one issue that it was raised following the meeting, which has been sent to all the members. So just about the changes with selection process for the Outback Art Prize, which will be soon, I think, Councillor Boland, isn't it? But apart from that, it was a very successful meeting, a very diverse group on the committee with art backgrounds, curator backgrounds, and councillor backgrounds. So I'm looking forward to the next 12 months.
Councillor Boland.
Same thing. Obviously, interesting meeting, first one around. That art gallery is an absolute amazing asset to the city, to our community. And I hope to continue to grow that asset into something the community can be even more proud of.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Just a quick question to the General Manager, just on the public art policy. Are we any closer on that one?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we're just in the final process of finalising that following the workshop held a couple of months ago now, and that'll come up to the next Policy and General Committee meeting.
Thank you. And just one other quick one is, I know we're doing a strategic plan on the Geo Centre. That'll include making it more mining related and that sort of stuff, or?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it will sort of be around more mining and mineral related, but also ensure an interactive display as well. But that's obviously going through that process at the moment, and councils will have be fully workshopped in regards to what they're looking at of the strategy for the Geo Centre.
Yes, that's a really big one. As people would have read in the paper from one of the previous mayors, Peter Black, our Geo Centre, and I'm sure Councillor Brown and Councillor Page and Councillor Turley can confirm this. I think they were there when it first was implemented. Our mining and our rocks and our minerals in town are important, and it really is an underutilised asset that I'm sure would all love to be as good as our art gallery in the way it's held to esteem. Councillor Brown, you'd like to speak to that, or Councillor Page? Been involved heavily from them.
Just in regard to the area around there, we as a council have spent a lot of money there over the last 20 years in regard to building that shed area. So with good intentions, and let's hope we get some good outcomes, because it's our history, the mining and the minerals, Mr.
Sure.
Mayor.
No worries. Councillor Brown? No, you're right. Councillor Brown? Yep.
Yes, I don't really have anything to add. I think it is important that we really look at that and, decide where direction we want to go. It is underutilised. I think its potential isn't fulfilled yet.
No worries. Councillor Turley? No.
No, Mr. Mayor, I'm fine.
No worries. All those in favour? Declare it carried unanimously. Thank you. Action list report, item 16. We have a mover for that. Councillor Gallagher's not here, so we need a new mover. Councillor Turley, you moving it? Councillor seconder? Councillor Boland, Councillor Turley, like to speak to that?
No.
You gotta say it. You,
Oh, look, I love the colours, the green and the yellow.
well, councillor, and former councillor Jim
sorry,
Dolan would be
let me-
horrified if
Can I
someone didn't
just,
say that.
Mr Mayor, on a serious note, can I say what councillor Gallagher would say and councillor Nolan before him? It is really good to see how many things are done by the colour green
Yep,
and the colour yellow, but I do have a question now that
Yes.
you've made me think about it.
yep.
One of the motions that, one of the questions that was going to be reported to the Works Committee was actually from councillor Page around the opportunity for a swimming pool out the south. That hasn't been reported to the committee yet. It's still in yellow. Are we having a report?
It was, so we can put it on the agenda for
It's in the,
yep,
it's in the
yep.
action list. It's in yellow.
Righto, so
Yep.
we can put it on the agenda for the next one, but it would take a vote by council because there's going to be considerable cost involved to find out what the thing is. So we
But
just get that on.
councillor Page, councillor
Yep,
Page's
yep,
motion
yep,
was that it
yep.
gets referred, there be a report. The committee, the Works Committee hasn't been meeting because there's been no business for it. This
It was actually just a question on notice though, rather than a
Oh,
vote.
it's in the action.
Yeah,
list,
that's
though.
why we'll get it off. So we'll put it in for the next committee meeting and then councillors can vote whether there be money voted for it.
Mr Mayor,
Councillor Page.
in regard to that, was put forward, was tied in with the community gardens out there.
Oh,
People
okay.
love gardening and it brings people together. So could we have that included
Yep.
as well, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no worries, councillor Page.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr Mayor. So for the future, you will never ask me again, will you?
No, I definitely will not. We'll leave that to councillor Gallagher, I think. Thank you, councillor Turley. All those in favour? Declare it carried unanimously. Questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. We have two items that were taken on notice. We have a mover for those. It's just a receive and note. Councillor Hickey, seconded. Councillor Turley, Councillor Hickey, you like to speak to that at all?
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Just, it never ceased to amaze me why the council sold that Geordie O'Neill Village years ago, because now the rates have gone up. People in there are going to struggle now because it's $50 a week, $100 out of their pension. It should still be a council asset, but it's not. So that's all I say.
Councillor Page, you would like to speak to it?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I think it's time we looked at building another aged care facility, whether it's a seniors accommodation and possibly tied in with short-term accommodation. I know you've put some work into it and you're on track to getting things happening. So we need to fast track that because the issues in Broken Hill in regard to housing, short-term housing and long-term housing as well. So council built Geordie O'Neill Village years ago with federal funding. And I think it's the right time now to approach the feds and just see what money. You've got a new Prime Minister down there and he wants to see housing similar to what he grew up in. So let's, Mr Mayor, I know you're working on it.
Yep.
So whether you send correspondence to the new Prime Minister, telling him what we needed, invite him to Broken Hill to have a look at the needs and let's hope we get a good response like we had last time.
Yeah, so it is a priority of our council to make sure there's affordable housing in the city. I don't think there'd be any councillors here that don't agree with that. And the general manager and some of the staff have done some really extensive work on that. We meet with politicians and regional development and whoever we can to try and make sure there is affordable housing, not just housing in general. When people talk about affordable housing, I didn't completely understand it until I went to the Western Divisions, and I think it was Jerry Collins that was speaking about it. Affordable living is not It is for people that earn under $100,000 and couples that earn under 140,000. So it's about making sure people can get in the market. It's about making sure people that are retirement age have somewhere that is affordable and frees up their house for families and that sort of stuff. So yes, Councillor Page, it is very important to, I'm sure all of us on this council, it is definitely important to the general manager, I and the deputy mayor have been doing a lot behind the, well, not even behind the scenes, up with different people. So thank you. All those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Questions for the next meeting arising from items on this agenda? We have any councillors? Councillor Turley?
I just wonder, Mr. Mayor, if it's time to review the ability for councillors to join the meetings online, particularly our committee meetings. It's just that we missed out on one of the most important meetings last week due to councillors not being able to attend for personal reasons or unforeseen circumstances. And I wonder if we could possibly look at that as an option for councillors to be able to join online as as needed with all those requirements.
Could we have for the appropriate committee to look at amending for committees and potential council meetings online to discuss? Okay. Any other questions? No. So we will move on to the public forum. The second public forum of 15 minutes will consider submissions from the public regarding matters that were considered by council at this meeting only. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes. Do we have any speakers that would like to speak about agenda items that were discussed during tonight's council meeting? No speakers. So we'll move on to confidential matters. Before I call to go into closed sessions, there's 3 items on the confidential agenda. Do councillors want to speak on any of those agenda items? We don't have to go into confidential. If no one wants to speak on them, we can just move them out of camera. One is the trust lease to the Silver City Arches, a tender for project to the City Library, and sale of land for unpaid rates. They're the 3 agenda items. We have a mover for item 1, the Williama Common Trust lease to the Silver City Arches. Moved Councillor Chandler, second Councillor Brown. All those in favour? Declare it carried. If anyone does want to speak, we can go into camera, but I'll move them until someone does. Request for tender project management services for the Broken Hill City Library and Archives. We have a mover for that. Move Councillor Ickity, second to Councillor Boland. All those in favour? Declare it carried. Sale of land for unpaid rates. Do we have a mover for that? Move Councillor Chandler, second to Councillor Page. All those in favour? Councillor Brown, you'd like to speak? Yep. Yep.
Confidentiality, but bearing in mind that we had that recent discussion about lead issues, any of those blocks sort of fall into the area close to the line of load? I mean, any of the streets, really, it's 2 or 3 streets up from Crystal Street and sort of out the South Air Street and there.
Councillor,
in
the
those.
General Manager will answer Councillor Brown.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. No, there's not many properties. There are some properties that will be affected by lead. However, opportunities will be looked at in regards to remediating that land to provide it for housing and opening that up for the city, given our current housing shortage. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Brown, you'd like to?
Yeah, so they will be properly remediated there. And if but I assume, without asking for details, that a lot of those properties the housing's probably not of,
Would
know,
you like
silver
that, would you
standard
like that
anyway.
put to one of the committee meetings to discuss anyway? Because that won't
Yes, I
be
would. I mean,
confidential,
it might
councillor
only
Brown.
be 2 or 3, but it is an important issue. I think we just have to start to consider these blocks of, I mean, it's not going to happen for another few years. It's a good chance to take some of these, say, off the market as far as, particularly if they're really close to the line of load. Yeah.
Relevant committee meeting for discussion. We'll just put it to the relevant committee meeting for discussion. All those in favour? Declare it carried unanimous. Just go to the general manager to read out what was just passed.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Council resolved confidential item 1, Williama Common Trust lease to Silver City Archers, Broken Hill City Council report number 167/2022. Resolved 1, that Broken Hill City Council report number 167/22 dated June 22, 2022 be received. 2, that the councillor as the Williama Common Trust enter into a 20-year lease agreement with Silver City Archers for lease of their existing site on the Williama Common part lot 7388 deposited plan 1200953. 3, that the rent remain $250 per annum. 4, that in the absence of a trust seal, the lease documents be executed by the Mayor and General Manager under the common seal of council. Confidential item 2, Broken Hill City Council report number 175/22. Council resolved 1, the Broken Hill City Council report number 175/22 dated July 14, 2022 be received. 2, the council approves the tender from Tonkin Consulting Proprietary Limited for contract project management services on the Broken Hill CBD revitalisation project, focusing on the library and archives during the construction stage for $216,480 excluding GST. 3, the council approves a further $108,240 excluding GST as an anticipated contingency should the construction timeline extend by 6 months from 12 months to 18 months total construction time. 4, that this amount will be a maximum value negotiable by the general manager dependent on the project timeline that is determined after selection of a main construction contractor and reasonableness of projected timelines. Confidential item 3, Broken Hill City Council report number 164/22, sale of land for unpaid rates. Resolved 1, the Broken Hill City Council report number 164/22 dated April 28, 2022 be received. 2, the council proceed with the sale of land for unpaid rates for eligible properties as attached to this report. 3, the council call for expressions of interest for services to undertake the process for sale of the listed properties. 4, the council delegate authority to the general manager to take the following actions pertaining to the property specified in the report. A, to withdraw from sale of any property that prior to commencement of the auction has had all rates and charges payable, including overdue rates and charges paid in full, or a suitable payment arrangement has been agreed to and entered into, including a suitable upfront payment being made. B, to withdraw any property from sale for technical or legal reasons. C, to set reserve prices for sale of the properties at auction. D, to negotiate by private treaty and accept offers for sale of any property that fails to sell at auction. E, to execute sale and purchase contracts and property transfer documents under council's common seal. F, to write off residual rates outstanding due to shortfall in sale for individual properties. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. That is the meeting closed. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance.